The Gen Z Career Crisis by Mark Insko. Yeah, here we go. He's probably gonna, what am I doing? He's probably gonna talk about our current what's the word? Our current just like job market. I would assume that that's what he's gonna be referring to. See, there's multiple issues in our worldwide job market, especially for Zoomers, right? In the West, I don't know how it looks somewhere else. It probably may look similar. I'm just talking from a European perspective. There's two problems here. So for one, we have a lot of employers that won't want to train new employees. That's for one. Essentially, everyone is looking for the baked bread, if you will, if that works well as an analogy. So they're not creating new people that come into the workforce. That's the first issue. They would rather just have you be done already, which is a problem because, well, if you don't make them yourself, you're not going to get any, because the ones that are making them themselves, the ones that are creating their own workers, they're likely going to stay there then. They're just taking them into the company. Another issue is that basically there's going to be a lot of jobs who will be replaced by robotics and AI in the next 10 years. Most of the, like, easy jobs, right? Like, even cashiers, like, they're already, like, on the way of building, like, houses just with robotics and shit. We have a problem. Where are we putting all these people that will drop off the workforce the next 10 years? And then, of course, we have the general just bad economic situation, and we don't have a solution for that as well. That is what we will struggle with in the future. Eventually, a lot of jobs will just be straight up gone. And what do we do then?
Applicant number 307, please step forward.
Hey, nice to meet you. My name's Mark. Really appreciate you taking the time.
What are your qualifications?
I think the average. By the way, the average employer looks at your like the thing you send in when you apply. Looks at your application. That's the word. For like 30 seconds. I think that was like that. It might be less. It's less than a minute. That I'm sure of. They don't look at you for long.
Well, I have 3 PhDs in astronomy, psychology, chiracology. I've had 17 internships.
Is your father the CEO of this company?
No. And also, is that necessary for the janitor position? That's what I'm here for.
Regardless, you are disqualified for using ChatGPT to write your resume.
I did not do that. And also, how would you know if it was ChatGPT?
Resume, yeah, that's the word. Also, see, you can have as many degrees as you want. That's the problem, right? You can have as many degrees as you want. If you don't bring in any experience, essentially, they don't value your existence, essentially. They don't care how many degrees you have. And we have to face a fact here. A lot of degrees that people get are really damn useless. Like, art degrees. I'm gonna say it. Art degrees are probably the most useless degree, whatever. And then you have like people who are in like weird other studies, like, right, gender studies. That's a thing. I'm like, how the fuck are you gonna get a job with this one? A lot of people also have really bad, like, really not that useful degrees, and that also keeps them out of the job market. Essentially, you gotta study what is actually demanded. And if you don't, you might be cooked. They glance at it for 10 to 20 seconds and make a decision. Yeah, okay, yeah.
AI, looking at your resume is like looking at my own handwriting.
Yeah, well, your handwriting sucks then.
F you.
No, f you. Folks, allow me to share with you an email I got from the great people over at LinkedIn. Thank you for your interest in the Public Relations Coordinator position at Wiesner Baum LLP. After careful consideration, we will not be moving forward with your application at this time. We truly appreciate the time and effort you invested in applying and your interest in Wiesner Baum. Well, thank you for that gracious rejection, Wiesnerbaum. This sounds like a job I literally just one-click applied to months ago and completely forgot about, but I appreciate you having the decorum that my Hinge matches don't. I guess my only...
See, the only, like, right, that's like, if you send a resume to someone, right, if you apply for a job, companies, employers, please have the guts to tell people that you're not hiring them. Thank you. Because there's many people out there who send their resumes in and then, like, wait and wait and wait and there's nothing coming back. Just be honest. Thank you.
Flag on this one would be that, yes, indeed, I applied to this job on March 8th and got this emailed rejection on September 4th.
That's crazy work. That's crazy. So essentially, that is most of March, April, May, June, July. That's essentially 5 months. That is essentially 5 months. That is just straight up 5 months. That is just straight up 5 months. What are these people doing? Decency. Yeah, decency. I don't care. Who cares?
Literally a full 6 months later, and Wiesnerbaum, I'm not gonna lie to
Okay, 6 months. It's about 5-6 months.
y'all. You couldn't afford me anyway. In those 6 months, I have become a niche internet micro-celebrity. I hustle memes for a living now, and as much as I would love to be a public relations coordinator for your scummy personal injury law firm, I'm moving different now. But that's the thing about the job search. Even after it's over, the trauma that it has inflicted upon you never truly leaves.
Guess who's applied to 200 different jobs and has gotten 0 replies yet?
The endless applications, the researching...
See, we have about 2.8 million people that are unemployed here in Germany. We have a ministry for unemployment, whatever you want to call it, right? It's just like yeah, you go there and then like you tell them, yo, I need a job, and they just put you there in their thingy, right? And then they will just send you job locations and shit. The problem is they're super ass. And then there's a problem. So we have 2.8 million. You couldn't understand the amount of people that they actually get into jobs. It's just 80,000 people a year. And the problem is that the people that exit the workforce are more than the people they can get put into the workforce. Essentially, with each year we get more people into the unemployment line. That's crazy. Oh, mess one up. Yep, I know somebody who sent like 400 to 500 actually. I know somebody that sent like 400 to 500 applications and did not get shit.
Positions, writing cover letters, LinkedIning, networking, and Indeeding, all in search of your dream position as an entry-level account executive at Slopworks Incorporated. And the cherry on top of this pain is that somehow, someway, the job market for Gen Z is getting even worse. The employment rate for Americans aged 16 to 24 is 10.5%, double that of older people. And for those looking for their first job, the unemployment rate is 13.4%, the highest it's been in 37 years. And before anyone hops in the comments section and is like, oh, it's because, you know, they're all at home gooning or playing Fortnite, that's not how the unemployment rate works. Unemployment specifically means people who are looking for work but can't get it. So even if you've got 3 PhDs and you're doing DoorDash, you're technically not unemployed. You're maybe, I guess, underemployed, but the data does not care about you. And the data is brutal. I mean, Gen Z men with college degrees have the same unemployment rate as those with college degrees, which is concerning to say the least.
Yeah, makes sense. This is also, but I would also put that on I would also put that on the educational system. So we're so backward. See, we're so backwards, right? We're so backwards in like educational system, and we live in a time where we need to run to not fall behind, and that's just never happening. Doug, have you ever worked? I had an apprenticeship for a year, yes. Until I realized that my boss was a piece of shit. So I went back to high school and got through high school. Yeah. And aside from that, I did a lot of babysitting. A lot of babysitting, if you can consider that work. I did get paid for it. I did work at a restaurant for a little bit. I did my voluntary social year. Yeah. So that's another thing. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I mean, would you like no job, or would you like no job plus $40,000 in student loans? Those are your options now. So let's explore the full depths of the Gen Z career crisis, starting with the reality that every aspect of trying to find a job sucks.
I have no experience. I have no work ethic. I have a criminal record. Right there, stop right there, stop right there. You're hired, you're hired. You start tomorrow. You're gonna make enough to buy a home, 2 cars, and probably, sustainably support a family. But yeah, you start tomorrow. That's awesome. Great. Thank you so much for taking the time today. Just a little bit about myself. I recently graduated from my master's degree. I have 10 internships under my belt. I have 20 self-initiated projects that have led to $10 million each. Additionally, I also solved world hunger.
I also think that, just because the problem is, right, right? Just because you are in the unemployment line and you can say you can't get a job, but the reality oftentimes is, you may be able to get a job, but it's just not worth it. I'm gonna say it overall. Working now, in comparison to 40 years ago, is very different. 40, 50 years ago, you had the chance to maybe even get a house. Now I am questioning if getting a job is even worth it. If getting a job is even worth it. Realistically. Like here in Germany, a lot of people are refusing to get jobs because they're not worth it. Like, if I work and I get as much as I would get, like if I get like $200 more than what I would get if I was unemployed, then I would be like, yeah, actually no. That's not worth it. So I waste 8 hours of my day to get 200 euros more. Instead of staying at home and the state pays for me. Like, working is just not worth it. It just isn't. You don't get anything out of it. You get nothing out of it. At the end of the day, you really get nothing out of it. Depending on what you do, you get nothing. You might as well just stay at home. Play video games. Jerk off. I don't know. I haven't worked a day in my life, bro, that I was paid for. I guess I do work to get through life and my parents pay me. So, yeah, just calm down, sugar princess.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's quite impressive, but we're just looking for somebody with more experience. More experience? What more do you want from me? This is a minimum wage position. This is a cashier position. How are you not gonna hire? You see, that's the problem with Gen Z nowadays. You guys expect Bro, shut the
Okay, so let's get started. Finding a job, because unless you want to end up a lifelong busboy at your uncle's fusion Greek diner, you're gonna need to find a company that actually wants to hire you. First stop, Indeed. And Indeed is the worst website ever created. Just page after page of reposted slop, half of which are not even currently active job postings, and the other half of which are complete scams. Honestly, the only good thing about Indeed is that the blinding white of the website provides a safety mechanism that helps you when your will to live is failing at about 3 o'clock in the morning. Because before you completely lose hope, you'll feel your retinas begin to burn out first, and you'll know it's time to go to bed. And let's be real, no matter what happens, you'll always be back tomorrow to fire off another 30 applications. But seriously, using Indeed or LinkedIn Jobs.
So I got my apprenticeship because of my dad. My dad was working there and he was like, yo, actually, take this guy. And I wasn't bad. I guess I fucked up with the math stuff. It wasn't bad like with working like with machines and stuff. It just wasn't my thing. I like teaching. Even though I'm questioning if I want to go in that position. Indeed. Yep, Indeed. That's the website. That is the website. And then I sent, after that, right, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go back to high school. I guess I did send out like 60 or 70 applications, and I got like invited to like 3 talks, 3 yaps. and nothing turned out to work. So I said, yep, I'm gonna reapply to high school. This time, instead of like the mechanical one, I went into the economic one, and I got my little place, and then I went to high school 3 years. Second time. The second attempt. Machines, that's cool. Yeah. Not as cool as you would think. It was really atrocious because essentially nobody was showing you anything, even though they were supposed to do that. And I was like doing most of the stuff on my own. I eventually couldn't stand it anymore. Also, my boss essentially just became a pissy bitch once he had his first child. Bro became a bitch after that one. And eventually had enough and said, hey, if you can't emotionally handle it, why did you make a child? And at that point, I knew it was over. I had to... Thomas, it was time for Thomas to leave. He had seen everything, kind of situation.
Or any of these sort of national job boards can be fruitful if you adhere to a few rules of the road. First of all, do not ever use the quick apply feature on any of these websites. Applying to a job through a job board is like using a travel agency to book a flight. What are you, 80 years old? Hitting that instant apply button or apply through LinkedIn or whatever it's called is basically guaranteeing that your resume will just get dropped into the ether, never to be seen again. Or even better, your personal information will just be taken and sold to a scam artist or data broker.
Stop using Indeed to apply for jobs.
I be telling people this all the time. Like, when I was trying to get a part-time job, people be like, oh, just look on Indeed. They have so many blah, blah, blah. If you go on Indeed, there's literally so many scam job lists.
See, that is why, not only is there not many job applications up, right, in general, just, so what you do is, I just, like, sent them, like, literally just an application, not even through, like, a job application, just literally per email, and I looked what would happen. Sadly, this did not work the way.
Things on there, it's nuts. Like, you apply for something, and then next thing you know, people blowing up your phone left and right, people that you never even applied for. And I'm like, they just keep blowing you up. Like, they never seem to leave you alone. And even though LinkedIn is better, it still has some little scammy job listings out there. Like, I made a whole video on that. Like, everybody's always saying it's so easy to get a job, all these job postings, blah, 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 woo, woo. It's easy to get a, like, warehouse job or job that's not paying for real. It's not easy to get a job where you're getting a good salary.
Yeah, not ideal. So instead, when you find a job that you like on one of these job boards, go to the actual employer's.
That's what I'm saying. It's not hard to find a job. It's just hard to find a job that you actually want to work in. That's like the problem, right? The money that you get is just not, the juice is not worth the squeeze. Like, it's just not worth it. The money is just not it. That's realistically what it is. I also made sure that the company I worked in, that people, especially young people who would want to apply to this company, know what the reputation of this company is, which is why for their first year and second year of apprenticeship, right, for the new ones, they didn't have any. They didn't have any. So they had for 2 years, they had no new new people for their apprenticeship. Huh. But if you don't want to work at all and you need the money, obviously, I'm gonna be honest, these people can complain about the jobs all they want. Realistically, whether it pays good or not, you'd rather have this than be homeless.
Website yourself and apply there. Any kind of major company will have a careers page. And this also has the added bonus of confirming that the job posting is 1, real, and 2, still active, which is also what leads me to my second piece of advice. When you're looking for jobs, sort by date posted. Ideally, you want to be one of the first people to apply to that job. This is
Nintendo brand ambassador. Yeah, that doesn't look good.
is using the serial position effect to your advantage. Anyone sifting through 100 resumes that all look the same is going to be way more likely to remember the first one they read, compared to the 50 that are in the middle. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, by the time a job posting gets 3 weeks, a month old, you might as well just drop your resume in a blender and see if your uncle's hiring. But to be fair to your uncle, truly the greatest cheat code in trying to get a job.
Truly, the greatest cheat code. The greatest cheat code is having family members. Having family members that work. Like, should I ever like come into a position where I actually need a job, I could just talk to my sister and older brother. They know what to do because they could get me into the company that they work in because they both work at the same company. Join the company, grind when you can, develop a useful skill, apply again. But that's so painful. True. Job security's gone. They murdered it.
It's not going through this blind online search.
Especially with time-gated contracts, it just gets worse and worse, right? Once you have like the time-gated bullshit, when that started, bro, everything went to shit. Everything went to shit. There's also I don't know if that's a concept in many countries, but here in Germany again, we have you can rent workers. There are rent companies where you can like rent a worker essentially, and the rent company pays you then. It is really odd. My dad has been one. It's like really weird. They're also really ass. They don't pay it on time either.
Search process to begin with. And unless you have an uncle who's the CEO of a Wall Street bank, you're gonna have to do a little something called networking. Networking, aka the process of making pretend friends solely so you could advance your professional career. Now, if Indeed is the Tinder of jobs, just endless swiping, ghosting, and emotional manipulation, then networking is doing it the old-fashioned way. Making connections in real life, that's how you used to find your husband or wife, and it's the quickest path to that sweet entry-level marketing gig at Lockheed Martin that you've been.
Another cheat code. Find a sugar mommy or sugar daddy on the way on networking. Then you don't have to worry about the job. you can be paid for being somebody's personal whore. You can do that for manual labor, making homes and stuff. They hire you for a specific project. That's it. Oh, for here they do it actually industry stuff like making like plastic parts or metal parts or whatever, right? They do that here.
So go to events, ask for introductions, take coffees, use your college's career services department to the greatest extent that you can. Because in the era of ChatGPT generated resumes and businesses using AI to sift through those resumes, just getting through to someone at the company who's not a clanker is about half the battle.
Here at our company, we take pride in being a family, and family is everything. We only love working with the best of the best.
Huh. Family. Vin Diesel would be happy.
And unfortunately, today, that's just not you.
Here's this from The Atlantic. In a recent survey,
Damn! Imagine you get told by an AI, we don't need you. We're a big family, and you can be you could be part of this family, but unfortunately, it's not you. Damn, bro.
Chief HR officers told the Boston Consulting Group that they are using AI to write job descriptions, assess candidates, schedule introductory meetings, and evaluate applications. In some cases, firms are using chatbots to interview candidates too. Prospective hires log into a Zoom-like system and field questions from an avatar. Their performance is taped, and an algorithm searches for keywords and evaluates their tone. Yeah, interviews with AI. All of a sudden, that job at the Greek fusion restaurant ain't seeming so bad.
Hello, I'm Alex, the recruiter at Club Pilates. Thank you for taking the time to interview today. As a sales associate at Club Pilates, you'll be working the front desk. Your main tasks include reaching out to leads, inviting them for an introductory Pilates class, and guiding them through our membership options to sign them up. This position heavily involves sales, so we seek someone with strong multitasking skills and a collaborative spirit.
Ain't no way, motherfucker. Ain't no way. We have AI interviews now. These fuckers desperately don't want to hire people at all. They really want. Remember when I said we live not with each other, but next to each other? This just goes even further into it. They don't want to hire anybody to have those interviews even. The harsh truth is that this lady is going to apply to a job. If she gets the job, she'll be replaced by AI in 10 years.
Does this align with what you're looking for?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Great. Let's dive in.
And listen, as much as I want to hop on here and say that every company that uses AI to interview people is evil, which they are, the problem is some of you interviewees are using AI too.
Show me your screen.
Yeah, I am sharing my screen now.
Oh, so my question is, what is your biggest weakness?
Yeah, great question. I would say that my biggest weakness is I can be overly critical of my own work, always aiming for high standards, and this sometimes slows my pace, but I'm actively working on balancing quality with efficiency.
So,
nah, bro. I could tell that you are, nah, bro. I can tell that you are AI, like you are reading AI. I can tell. I can for sure tell.
To recap, the resume was AI, the hiring manager was AI, the interviewer was AI, the interviewee was AI, and at a certain point, do we even need humans in this process? Or I guess that's the scary thing, huh? Is that we're pretty much don't need humans in this process at a certain point.
Thanks, you will start on Monday.
Huh?
No, I will start on Monday.
Wait, what?
Thank you for interviewing with us today.
Thank you for coming to this interview.
We appreciate your interest in our company.
What the fuck? Well, now you're just a listener. Hey, maybe you get through this actually. Maybe you get the chance to apply actually. See, if you see, you may get the chance to actually get through this, right? Because now the AI is answering and they're gonna use the AI. It's just so stupid.
We appreciate you taking the time to meet with us.
What is going on?
We'll be in touch about next steps.
We'll let you know our decision soon.
Have a great day.
Great day.
Great day.
Great day.
Great day.
Ooh, yeah, it's getting dark out here, y'all.
They would now be stuck in an endless loop of great day. This is horrible.
It's getting real dark. But okay, look, let's say you beat the odds and you somehow manage to find yourself in a job. In general, I would say you can expect a work environment that is roughly as humanizing as the hiring process it took to get that job. Let me tell you, if you had to go through 9 rounds of ChatGPT HR hell in order to get this job, do not expect that job to be sunshine, rainbows, and weekly office pizza parties. As a matter of fact, more likely than not, as a Zoomer entering the workforce, be prepared to confront the hordes of millennial and boomer middle managers who expect you to treat this corporate communications gig like it's literally the most important thing in the known universe.
When asked to come in for an 8 a.m. meeting, my Gen Z new hire said, "Ugh, sorry, I can't make it. I have a workout class. Should this be allowed?"
My visceral reaction was, are you fucking kidding me?
No, fully, like angered, typing this out. I was like, please.
Like my hand's shaking and it's not from the caffeine.
You just started this job. I don't give a flying shit about your workout class. Also, an 8 a.m. workout class is too late. Workout at 6, maybe 7.
Yeah, cancel your workout class. That's not even within work hours. We have a meeting at 8 a.m. Or alternatively, how about you go f yourself? How about you schedule a meeting that's within the hours of 9 to 6 or whatever office hours are? Or explain how I'm going to be compensated for that lost time.
Yeah, Natalie. So we can talk about this more later, but I'm going to address this now. It was made very clear during the interview process that the working hours for this position is between 9 to 5 p.m. Eastern time, and I am on Eastern time. I made that very clear with HR because I have commitments outside of work. I go to the gym, I work out because I care about my health. Sure, I can make a sacrifice to go to an 8 a.m. meeting had I known at least a week before that I needed to go at 8 a.m., not a day before. Also, my workout class starts at 7:30, not at 8, but I didn't know that I needed to tell you that. Okay, let's just say I skipped the gym. 2 things.
So the woman is just, so the lady is just retarded. And the dude is also retarded. They're both retarded. They're sharing a collective brain cell. I understand why a lot of dudes are dropping out of the workforce. I do understand why there's quite quitting happening. I'm starting to get behind what's going on. This is bullshit.
When can I expect you to reimburse me for my class? And 2, are you going to be paying me from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. or at the very least, let me leave at 4 p.m.?
Unfortunately, the reality of being a salaried worker in the United States often means that, oh, you're on salary, therefore we own your life now. No, you own me for 40 hours, possibly 42 a week if I'm feeling generous. Not every waking moment I have to be on Slack or whatever horrific corporate chat app that your company uses. And I know this discourse has been beaten to death, but it's still worth repeating that all these people who think Gen Z is like uniquely lazy just don't understand that we're the first generation who can accurately identify a scam as a scam. Yeah, 30 years ago, when you could actually get a college degree without going bankrupt and afford a house on an average salary, and where the company you worked for couldn't harass you through your smartphone at every waking...
Back then, you could afford a house, a car, a dog, a woman, 4 children, and be good. And be good. And be good. And now it's like 1-bedroom apartment, no woman, no children, a chihuahua, possibly car, maybe, like a small one. But even that is out of reach. And then you also have the threat of women still asking for the treatment that their mothers and grandmothers have gotten. As a dude, you are essentially fucked in the anus.
Moment of your life, even when you're not in the office, where your employer wasn't actively trying to replace you with a clanker, and where promotions actually led to a raise rather than a minuscule pay bump that barely keeps up with inflation, along with, of course, more job responsibilities. In that past bygone era, yeah, maybe then you could have called us lazy. But in this hellscape that we've inherited, why the f would any 23-year-old go above and beyond for ExxonMobil or whoever they're working for?
Why the fuck would I go beyond for a company that doesn't give a single rat's ass about me? Why would I do that? See, if you're gonna pay me badly, I'm gonna work the way you pay me. I feel like that's the best way. If you pay me well, I will work well. If you do not pay me well, I don't work well. See, minimum wage, minimum work. That's, by the way, I'm gonna say this. That's why they want so many immigrants. That's why they want so many immigrants. Because it's all about money. Because those people take the jobs, right? And since where they a lot of like they want mostly from countries where poverty's high. So you can give them minimum wage, and that will be enough to where their standards that they're used to are still more than fulfilled, while a native person would ask for more money. I know this is a hot take, but that's why we get so many so much immigration, is so they can save money. Sorry, but that's just the truth. Because somebody that is from a poor country would ask for less.
I have a fear that Gen Z are the least resilient generation that I've ever seen. Gen Z, when I'm hiring people that are in that generation, I almost need to go to an extra length just to check that they can cope with a high-intensity culture where demands might come on a Saturday. Because the world doesn't stop on Saturdays and Sundays.
You know, there's just truly something beautiful about criticizing the work ethic of Gen Z when your job is to be a podcaster. Yeah. You know what the problem is with Gen Z? The lack of intensity, says the guy who yaps into a f***ing microphone for a living.
This younger generation aren't apparently working themselves to death.
Some of them have figured out that the country's a scam. And here's the good news. They're not wrong. And when you figured out the country's a scam, you can approach it the way a con artist or a scammer would approach it, which is what a lot of them do. They invent mental health ailments they don't have. They take days off on end. They terrify their superiors into respecting their mediocre, shoddy quality of work. This is something that Gen Z has latched onto. This is something.
Scam the scammers. Scam the scammers. I see no issue. Why would I not do that? Why would I not do scam the scammers? Easy. Straight up, literally just scam the fucking scammers. Why would I not?
that I fully support. This is their way of rising through the ranks. They're taking advantage of people that they work with, making them tolerate less and less work and work of lower and lower quality because they've realized that a lot of this is bullshit. So they're like, why shouldn't I get in on it?
Well, I think the implication that Zoomers are making up mental health ailments is moronic. But honestly, I vibe with everything else Tim Dillon's got to say here. What is the incentive for Gen Z to kill themselves for work right now? I mean, what, to pay off debt? More Labubu's? I mean, is that what's left of the American?
More Labubu's. If your life consists of Labubu's, you may have some mental elements. You might have a mental health issue, especially if you start suddenly collecting gold and Labubu's.
Dream, work an extra 12 hours this week, and maybe you'll get promoted in 6 months, and you can buy more Labubu's.
Beam bada boom, Mr. Worldwide when I step up in a room.
Ooh. Ooh. Homie, you look gross. What the fuck are... That's a Labubu, yeah, but... Why is he bald? Labalbu?
Daddy, and today I want to ask you, damn girl, is you from the ghetto? Because I'm trying to get a piece of that culo. Ha, dale, esa jevita tiene tremendo.
And I think this...
Is that a booty? The Labubi? Booby? No, the Labooty.
This is how you end up with trends like the Gen Z stare, which is possibly the dumbest intergenerational argument that I've seen since, like, oh, millennials spend all their money on avocado toast. The Gen Z stare, aka, why do Gen Z workers look at me like I'm an idiot when I'm acting like an idiot?
Hi, did you find everything okay? Hi, so I noticed that this was a large. Is there any way that you can possibly have like it in a small in the back? I know that there's only, this is a thrift store, so only one comes in, but like, can you just check the back for me? And I noticed that the waist is kind of like big too, and I don't like the color.
I understand. I stare like that too. I stare like, I get it. I get it. I get it. I understand the stare. I understand what's going on inside the head of this woman.
Now, am I saying that there are no Zoomers out there who have problems with professionalism or workplace decorum? Of course not. I'm sure there are. However, we've already talked about how Gen Z is one of the most authenticity-obsessed generations that there has ever been, thanks to the hyper-curated nature of social media. So maybe bullshitting with people who are total morons in the workplace, or just adjusting.
I'd say no. Here I have to disagree. We are the most pseudo authentic generation, in fact. Because, well, for one, we are mostly we just consist of virtue, like lots of us are just virtue signalers, right? We want to boycott something, but oh wait, that's also happening there, but I can't boycott that. Or we want to boycott something and still use it. We want to advocate for something, but only with social media posts. We are so pro health and pro mental health, but we stop when it stops being cute and quirky. I actually disagree with that. I think actually we're less authentic because let's think about it. We are all technically, how do I put this? A lot of what we're actually, like, what we say is us is actually just things from other places implanted into us. Like a lot of things, a lot of values, opinions that we hold, they aren't really from us. So how could we say that we are more authentic when, well, most people are just saying what other people have told them?
To the reality of bullshit corporate lingo and the politics of an office job just doesn't come as naturally to us as it did for previous generations. And I don't think that's an indictment on Gen Z. I just don't. I mean, I think that's an indictment on a work culture that, again, is offering less and less while demanding complete loyalty.
Hey, team, how's it going? Happy Friday. Yeah, thanks for hopping up. Yeah, does anyone have anything? Hey, great. We wait on anyone or Jason? Sure, makes sense. New baby, but well, we can dive right in, right? Can everyone see my screen?
But you know what? Some Gen Z HR experts have a different view.
When you are getting a 22-year-old Gen Z employee in your workforce, you have the mental, emotional, executive functioning equivalent of a 16 or 17-year-old. That is very different than any other generation. That is not a knock on them. Companies are investing more in soft skill training for Gen Z employees. And hello.
Yes, thank you, lady who sells Gen Z soft skills trainings. Perhaps the thing Gen Z needs most is soft skills trainings. I'm sure you are.
She is correct in a way. So how I see it is, we are the most infantilized generation to this date, and Gen Alpha will be even more infantilized. It also, see, older generations had some crisis, some struggle that they grew up with that need to make them mature. And nowadays, you have more time. You can be longer immature. I mean, I see 35-year-old boys out there and 35-year-old girls out there who have not grown really up. You are actually, in fact, you may, in fact, deal with a 16-year-old stuck in a 35-year-old body. Because people are no longer needed to grow up emotionally. So she isn't wrong. You are, in fact, dealing with an adult infant occasionally.
Arrived at that conclusion.
More so than in other generations. Of course, in other generations, that's a thing too, but it's a much bigger problem for us Zoomers.
With no conflicts of interest whatsoever. Or here's the thought, maybe instead of trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, maybe instead of Gen Z needing to change, maybe it's the employers and egregiously stupid work culture we have in this country that needs to change. But I'm not holding out hope. I mean, just look at Starbucks, for example, from the New York Times. Perhaps the greatest challenge to the CEO of Starbucks and his vision to return Starbucks to its coffeehouse roots come from within, the frontline baristas. Some have complaints. Many find the new dress code, black t-shirts, khaki pants or jeans, limited facial piercings, too restricted and not kindred to a cozy neighborhood store. Writing on the cups, an activity that had once been spontaneous and genuine, now feels forced, many say. Baristas have been warned that they will be written up if they don't write a personalized message on every cup, even during peak hours, they said. They're surveilling us. You have no choice. If you say, I don't have time to write on this cup, they ask, do you want to keep your job? She spoke in an interview arranged by Starbucks Workers United, the labor union that represents more than 600 stores. Yes, this is what's going to get customers back into Starbucks. Forcing your baristas to write personalized messages on your $8 cup of coffee to the point that the line for coffee is now out the door and down the block. Honestly, I mean,
literally just people are there for the coffee. Just literally make coffee. Just literally get the people coffee. Literally do that. And I think everyone is happy. Literally just give them coffee. Do what you're supposed to do. Like, these personalized messages are just bullshit. Nobody asks for that. And me personally, I don't even go to Starbucks because it's just straight up too expensive. I can go to my local bakery and get a coffee that's still totally fine, or just make mine at home. Like, I don't need Starbucks. And a lot of people realize this. It's just also the price. Why the fuck would I pay for a Starbucks coffee if I could just make one at home, or I go to my local bakery and actually support a local business? Why? No.
I think this is why people come to Starbucks. To come see their Zoomer barista who has been forced to take out their septum ring for no fucking reason, sweatily try and draw a smiley face on every one of the three.
Starbucks wants to remove the septum piercing because they think it might not make people want to get coffee. I want women to remove their septum piercing because it looks hella ugly. We are not the same.
300 venti iced lattes that they have to make this morning. But again, I'm not holding out hope because employers can act like this. Corporations can act like this. Right now, the reality of the job market is they can be choosy. There's just too many new grads, too many young people, and not enough jobs to go around. So of course, these corporations can treat people however they want to treat them.
I got laid off from my corporate job yesterday. And I think that this is the reality for a lot of Americans right now, and it needs to be shared because America is not doing well right now. We have a 94% prediction rate that the recession is going to come, but yet our frickin' administration hasn't even made the move to actually say that a recession is coming. And let's actually call it what it is, a depression. People can't afford groceries. They can't afford rent. They can't afford buying.
Oh, it's certainly coming. I think everyone is aware of that. We are straight hate up for a financial crisis. Straight up. Our currencies are dog shit. They're gone. They're worthless. They are straight up. Our currency is worthless. Remember, at least maybe they can prevent getting a hyperinflation. Imagine paying $1 billion for an egg. By the way, that was a thing before during the hyperinflation in like the 20s. Was it the 20s? Somewhere like that. After World War I. See, an egg was like a bajillion euro, not euros, a bajillion Deutsche Mark. That's what this thing was called. It's just crazy. It is just crazy.
Houses, they can't afford having babies. They can't afford having the kids in general if they already have them. We are not in a good spot, y'all. I know that I'm just a number in a company, but I thought I was okay. You're going to think that you're okay because you've worked there for so long, or you have the right experience. Like, you guys, I have an undergraduate in marketing, a master's in business, 6 years of paid social media experience, both on a strategist and manager level. I have done people management for at least 3 years. I'm a senior level in my career. And yeah,
that does not matter. I'm sorry, but that does not matter. If you are essentially financially useless to them, you're gone. Again, Zoomers, we need to realize something. Companies are not our friends. Work there, do your job, that's it. Companies are not our friends. They don't give a rat's ass about people. All they care about is money, and if you're not making money, you're gone.
yet. When I was hired to do a senior level role, I was forced into entry level positions. I was doing entry level work as a senior level strategist, all while at the same time being asked to reduce my workload with AI, and our team was having layoffs every 3 months. We all saw the jobs report. It was awful. Getting laid off on the day that the jobs report goes out, and it's 22,000 instead of 75,000 new jobs. You know how discouraging that is?
So this is the part of the video where I go, things are bad, but never doom. Everything that sucks about our current job market, frankly current society, is based on choices that you probably had nothing to do with. But the upside is that these choices are not permanent. When it comes to policies, things can always be done or
Obviously, things can always be done. But in the end of the day, money, not governments, rule the world. It's money. And that will also determine what policies are being made. It is what it is.
Done or done better in the future. Which brings me to the real villains of the Gen Z career crisis, which isn't just AI or scummy hiring practices or shitty managers, it's the people who set up and profit from the system to begin with. It's the billionaires and institutions who own these international mega corporations and who in turn own the politicians who gladly let you get so that way they can make an extra buck. And right now, to be honest with you, the biggest villain of all is the guy who poured this gasoline of tariffs onto the fire of rising unemployment and rising costs. Because surprise, surprise, when you add a tax on literally every single good, it makes things more expensive. And at the same time, as things get more expensive and people can buy less of it, and the economy becomes uncertain, companies stop hiring because they're afraid that things are gonna get worse. Or more likely they—
Obviously. Like, his plan is to crash the market. His plan is to crash the market. His plan is also just to get, like, everything be made in America, essentially, and, like, cheap production. That is his goal. That's why he's fucking over other countries, realistically. And obviously that fucks over the US too. That is his goal. We'll see what it turns out. Right, we have not seen the long-term effects. This is the short-term effects. This might recover. This might actually. It depends. It might work. It might also just absolutely backfire and anally fuck everyone.
Not, they see that worse is already here. But you know, Apple and Google and Meta can afford to weather the tariff storm by laying people off. But what about you? What about the people who are losing or will lose their job? And believe me, I'm not saying life was great before the tariffs. They weren't. But you know, at least we didn't have a billionaire president who's literally trying to make things worse.
When y'all said the job market was bad, I thought y'all meant like 6-figure jobs. Why did I just get rejected from McDonald's? I have a college degree, a 4-year degree. I'm working on a master's. Why is it this hard to get a job, chat?
Here's another quote from that Atlantic article. The equilibrium now seems to be falling apart, and a full-on recession looks likely. Black workers have experienced a dramatic surge in joblessness, in part because of the Trump administration's mass layoffs of federal employees. More than 10% of workers under the age of 24 are searching for a job. Performance-based and strategic layoffs are increasing. Cracks are increasingly showing. Yeah, cracks are increasingly showing might be the understatement of the year. The cracks are about everywhere, okay? I've seen people who haven't moisturized in their lives who have less cracks than the cracks that are being shown right now. This thing is falling.
I'm gonna be honest. This would have happened with or without the tariffs. I'm gonna be honest. This would have happened with or without the tariffs. This was already showing during Sleepy Joe. This was already showing during Joe Biden. It's just now hitting. And the tariffs might just might have slightly accelerated it, but they're not the sole reason for the situation. So this was coming regardless.
Apart at the seams, and I mean, can you even get a shred of sympathy from right-wing media? Is there at least an acknowledgement from the politicians who are letting this happen that things aren't so great right now? No, and as a matter of fact, this is what you can get from them. From Fox News, extra credit, the newest side hustle on campus has college students making OnlyFans accounts to cover rising tuition costs. Yeah, nobody can get a job, and the jobs that are out there aren't even enough to pay the bills, or even to pay your student loans, but according to Fox News, it's just because everybody wants to do OF now. More and more people aren't having kids, and more people want to cut the line. And since the pandemic, there was this explosion on OnlyFans. The amount of money they're making is more than Google, more than Intel, more than the NBA. Incredible stuff. More and more people aren't having kids, says Fox News. And you know, it's not because kids are like insanely expensive. It's because all the young women just want to do corn instead. Moral panic. That's all we do in this country. We don't.
We have the statistics, right? We have the statistics. Most more conservative leaning men and women still want children. More left leaning leaning women, like 6%, said their highest goal was to have children. Or like one of the goals was to have children. I think this is not only a financial situation, because people have been worse off and still made babies. I think this is also a cultural, this is a more complicated and more nuanced thing. This also has to do with a cultural shift, regardless. I mean, about 10% of women between 18 and 35, was 18 and 35? 18 and 25, I could be wrong, was one of these. Have an OnlyFans, meaning that you are more likely to encounter a woman with an OnlyFans than you are to encounter a nurse in that age group. Meaning that, yes, a lot of women are doing OnlyFans. Problem is, they're not making money off of it, and it's not a side hustle, as Fox likes to put it. This is not a side... $180 a month on the average is not a side hustle. And it might be less for like college girls. College women. So there's that. Like, it's not a side hustle if you make like $10 a month.
Improving people's lives, increasing their incomes. No. That would require making a few powerful.
You do not. No. Do not increase. Wrong. Do not increase people's incomes. Lower taxes. Do not increase people's incomes. Lower taxes. Because if you increase their wage, if you increase their salary, you are going to accelerate inflation. In my country, we have done that. We have raised the minimum wage a couple of times. And everything just got way more expensive as well. It's like a spiral. You increase the wages, everything gets more expensive. And everything gets faster expensive, then the wages do increase. Do not do that. What you need to ask for is a lowering in taxes.
People very uncomfortable. So we're just going to keep pumping out some culture war bullshit the more plastic crap for you to buy, and we'll keep it moving. And when that's the deal we've got, why is it such a surprise that Zoomers would rather just opt out? Just do DoorDash, make enough to live, don't have health insurance, and go home at a bare minimum without having a boss who's texting you on Saturday about some shit that you don't even care about.
This job market's been so trash, I've actually just started following my dreams. And it's been working out. And like, it's not easy. Like, there's so much more risk involved because it's all on my shoulders, but at least I have control over my destiny rather than a company that on a whim can let me go.
Very true, very true. I'd rather just be my own boss. Why not both? I just explained it. Like, if you increase in general just the salary, you're gonna spike. You're just gonna increase inflation, meaning you're gonna you will have to pay more. So you would just create essentially you would negate the effect of reducing taxes. The best way, truly, because that doesn't increase inflation, would be to reduce taxes. If you do both, inflation is still gonna go up.
Yeah, Amanda's making some good points, but you know, at the end of the day, not everybody can start their own business or do their own thing, or do they want to do that? Meaning we're gonna have to make an economy here that actually affords people jobs, which they believe will provide them with the ability to live the life they want to live. And I'm not claiming to have all the answers here, you know, but I got a list of things that I want. I mean, bare minimum, raise the minimum wage, make it easier to form.
Do not raise the minimum wage. Do not. Do not. Again, you're gonna create a spiral in which everything just gets hella more expensive. Because the more money people have, right? That money has to come from somewhere. So this is gonna be put on the prices. Reduce taxes.
Unions, the lack of which are the reason why income inequality skyrocketed in the first place. Increase taxes on corporations and the ultra-rich, provide universal health care and child care, strengthen.
Okay, let me look. What you said.
All the answers here. You know, but I got a list of things that I want. I mean, bare minimum, raise the minimum wage, make it easier to form unions, the lack of which are the reason.
Stop. You need for that. It's good that they try to kick out DEI because people who are hired through DEI will not unionize. The more diverse a group of workers is, the less likely they are to unionize. So that is a careful thing. You will get more unions if you stop that.
Reason why income inequality skyrocketed in the first place. Increase taxes on corporations and the ultra-rich, provide universal health care and child care, strengthen work.
Yes. Problem is that they would just move somewhere else. So usually putting more taxes on the rich does not help. In fact, hot take, the rich are already paying way more taxes than the average person ever will in their entire lifetime, so that doesn't work.
Minimum, raise the minimum wage, make it easier to form unions, the lack of which are the reason why income inequality skyrocketed in the first place. Increase taxes on corporations and the ultra-rich, provide universal.
Universal healthcare is not working if you have. So you put Germany here, right? You put Germany as an example. The problem is with Germany that our healthcare system is failing. Our universal healthcare system is failing because there's not enough babies to be made. See, the universal healthcare system is based on taxes, but the less taxpayers you have, and more expensive the stuff gets, the less you're gonna get out of it. Our healthcare system is ready to collapse, and I will still experience it when I have to pay my own health insurance because we will abolish the system because we failed to keep it up. Same with retirement. That's also a problem. But yeah, if you want universal healthcare, everyone needs to pay that as a tax, and you need to keep a steady source of people who will make babies, so these will eventually be taxpayers. But nobody's doing that.
Healthcare and childcare, strengthen worker protections and overtime laws, mandatory vacation days, paid family and sick leave.
Yeah, I agree with that. That might not be bad. Sure, I agree with that. Yep. That should be a thing.
And that would be like a good start, to be honest. And despite what some of these hustle grind set
Hot take, pay mothers. Hot take, pay mothers. Why not pay mothers? You want to have more babies. Being a mother is a job. Straight up. You're raising the next generation who's going to feed into the system. Straight up, pay mothers.
Influencers and salty CEOs suggest Gen Z does want to work. For most Zoomers, it is literally the most important thing.
All right.
We want to work. Problem is that the work is just not worth it.
Gen Z, these are adults under 30 years old. We thought we would ask a big picture question, what they think is most important to their personal definition of success. So we gave a whole bunch of different options here, and we asked folks in this poll, pick the 3 that you think are most important. The most commonly cited for Gen Z for success in life: to have a fulfilling job or career, to have the money to do the things you want to do.
See, all of these, there's a problem. All of these, not all of them, but many of these are dependent on having children. Having no debt is highly dependent on people having children, because if nobody feeds into the system, essentially, the system collapses and the financial burden on the average person will be increased. So that's a problem. That, for example, the smaller the population is that actually is the workforce, the greater the ass beating will be.
Yeah, we all want a fulfilling career. Just, emphasis on the word fulfilling. So in conclusion, finding a job sucks, having a job sucks. Politicians and billionaires are making it significantly worse, and things are probably going to get worse before they get better. So, yeah. But on the positive side of things, at least Gen Z seems more likely to stick up for ourselves in the workplace. And if we want this entire system to get better, we're going to have to stick up for ourselves.
I wouldn't say stick up. I don't think opting out is considered stick up. Stick up would be essentially, right, like protesting, right? If you truly wanted to stick up, you would create protests. But you're not. You're just, defeatist. So no, I would not say the Zoomers are sticking up for themselves. They're just defeatist.
At the ballot box, too. Until then, let's just take what little victories we can, whether that's setting boundaries at work or making sure every clanker knows fear.
Keep it pushing, you dirty fucking clanker.
Like standard, subscribe to Mark Insco, True and Real, and subscribe to me. Yeah, I'd say we're cooked. That's all I can say. We're cooked. The system is going to collapse. World war, destruction, planet burning. You understand it. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe.